Hello, and welcome to the mini series Grief Repurposed. In today's episode, we are going to be hearing from Kischa and Jazmon Howard, and they share how Kham's house was started. Enjoy. Hello and welcome to One Called Mama. I am your host, Sam, and I'm so thankful that you have decided to join me today. I have two guests with me today. I've never had more than one guest, so this is exciting. I'm really excited. It's the first little panel show. Jazmon and Kischa, they are a mother-daughter duo. They have founded the nonprofit Kham's house, and I am just so excited for them to share Khamron's story. And before we jump into all of that, Kischa, Jazmon, I don't know who wants to go first, but please share just a little bit about yourself, something we don't know about you.
Go ahead.
Please do.
Okay, I'm Jasmine. I'm a mother of one, my baby girl. Her name is Love Joy Emmanuel. I'm super excited to be a mom. I think I underestimated what being a mother was.
Don't we all?
But I got a good, I guess, training ground because I'm a teacher.
Mm,
So I'm always with kids. So that's a little bit about me.
love it.
Uh, a little bit about me. I feel like I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have a heart and passion for people. So my gifting of mercy kind of shows up in every space that I'm in. And that's kind of one of the things that I enjoy doing. I enjoy reading and I enjoy line dancing. That's my exercise. It makes me feel like I'm not exercising. So.
Oh, I love that. You could teach me a few things then.
Come on.
Well, I am really excited, and it's your passion that I'm sure is how this organization got started. Through tragedy came something beautiful, and I would just really love if you could just share with us what is Cam's house.
So Cam's House is a nonprofit organization designed to help individuals who are adolescent and young adult, which is considered the AYA community, while they're navigating cancer and any other serious illness. So we're not just so when you hear AYA or AWA, you tend to have it connected just to the cancer population, but we expand that just to the age group of individuals who are navigating life-altering health crisis. And one of the things that we do, we help support them in some financial way that ultimately the full manifestation of life is a recreation place where people can find respite and or lodging while they're receiving cancer treatment for the individual and their family, but ultimately just to be able to help them with some of the essential financial needs. When COVID happened in 2019, my son Cameron was going through his journey, and being that my primary source of income was as a hairstylist, I was deemed non-essential, so I was unable to work. And when family, friends, strangers, former classmates when I was in elementary school saw our story, they decided to rally around us and send money to us. So, in the same essence of the pain that we live through, is the same way that we want to help support others. So, what that looks like may look like lodging, meal support, fertility preservation fee fund, maybe some funeral expense fund because those are some costs and a lot of people don't have that prepared, and uh, what is it, maybe parking and some care packages for the individuals as well as the caretaker.
So, Cameron, that's a that was a really I was reading through the questions and the information that you sent over. That was a very difficult time, and talk us through how you turned that grief into a cause. because, I think we have two reactions to when things happen that are extremely difficult. We can allow them to change us for good, or we can allow them to destroy us. And something, Kischa, that you wrote down that I really loved was that it's important to face the fears of healing from grief and loss, unforgiveness, and all the hard parts of life in order to heal your soul. So let's talk about that.
Okay. Yeah, that's a hard one. So initially, it was really hard for me. So one of the things that I've learned, because prior to Cam's journey, we had some other very painful moments in our family, and it we kind of had to navigate all of the other painful moments. And when it came to Khamron, everyone's focus became focused on him. So we all focused our energy on him. And after he passed away, I sought out therapy. After 8 months, I started therapy because I couldn't sleep at night. I felt like I was losing my mind. And it's a hard space to be in. To one, feel like you losing your mind, and then to say, hey, I need help in this space, because all of my other children, my family members, everyone navigated grief in their own way. And when I wanted to offer the ways that I chose, it may not have helped them. They may not have been open to receive that. And in doing so, I fought to learn. I fought to have peace. I fought to be in a space where I reconcile Cam's earthly journey in his heavenly home. And Grief Share was a catalyst for that for me. And then I did one-on-one therapy. And I think I had a hard time with the therapist because she was really textbook, and she didn't have the same heart space or posture for me. And then I met a lady who, she's a Christian, she's a minister, and she does grief coaching. And in her grief coaching, I connected with her because she had compounded grief. She had lost her mother, her father, her sister, and her son. And I was able to, the in three of her family members, it was well within maybe a 3-month time frame. So I knew that she could understand my pain as a mother, as well as all of the other work that she had done. And facing it was very, very hard. And sometimes I still am concerned about some of my children and my other family members, because they rarely ever want to have that difficult conversation about Khamron. Even Jazz, and allow her the space to share, because I think she kind of goes through a roller coaster of emotions when it comes to Khamron.
Yes, so I'm the eldest sister, second born, first daughter, first granddaughter, and I took more of his nickname for me was Mama Bear because I'm extremely mothery. So it was kind of dual for me. It was first having to go without my baby brother, but then also in some ways like a child or mine. Um, for me, having the knowledge of where he is headed and where he is versus reconciling that he's not here and replaying some of the things that led up to that outcome, I was very angry. And what I had learned about myself was I wasn't a person who allowed my emotions to flow out of them, which resulted in me during that time having challenges with anxiety, extreme panic, calling the ambulance because I believe I'm having a heart attack, panic. Um, I had to sleep in the bed with my mom because I would wake up in a panic because it was outside of my control, yet I didn't know how to relinquish it. So after Cameron's transition to where he is now, outside of his physical body, I remember this encounter where I was like, I'm so angry. And if I don't allow this anger to come out and speak on how I feel, it's going to turn into resentment, which could potentially turn into bitterness. And who wants to be bitter? I don't. So I remember having a conversation with my mom, and at that time, I had learned to preface things like, "Okay, I just need you to listen, and don't worry about my tone. Just hear my heart." You know what I'm saying? Don't get offended, is what I was trying to say.
Yeah. Something
So
we all need to learn.
in that conversation, I was really asking for grace and space, and she allowed that for me. And we had a conversation after I got it out. And I had to also learn to give grace because we don't know everything. None of us do. We can only work with what we have in our knowledge up until that point. So it was a lot of, I say forgiveness is always the right answer because if you don't, it's going to keep you in a space of hurting when you can be using that hurt for healing instead. So I'm grateful for that. I do sometimes go on a roller coaster. Now it's so much of missing him. I can't hug him and kiss him. And he isn't gonna meet my daughter until, she gets to or we all get to where he is. And I'm just like, she reminds me of him. Uh, and so I think it's that roller coaster, but I may not speak about it as much. I might just mention,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that y'all were willing to face head on the hard emotions that you knew it would be really painful because working through those types of situations, these emotions, it's very painful work, not only because of the situation you were dealing with, losing your son, losing your brother, uh, but also too, it brings up things in you that self work is really hard. And I love that you were both willing to face that because so many of us want to run from it.
Mm.
As you've put this organization together, what were some key moments? I mean, was it this is what we know we have to do? Was it a subtle thing? Like how did his story create Kham's house? I mean, what was the catalyst for that for y'all?
One of the There's some little things that I do with my children, and before Cameron's diagnosis, he began sleeping in a bed with me. So I have a king size bed. He slept on one side, I slept on the other, and when Jazz had panic attacks, she slept on the other end, and they sandwiched me, right? So I'm taking care of two of my adult children, and when Cam's house, when Cam transitioned, just because of who he is. One of the things that I do with my children, I journal with them. And they get the journal one day, I get it the next. We talk about what it is and we just share. And he was the one who kind of consistently communicated with me in the journal. And one of the questions that I asked him was about who he wanted to be as a man and what would it take for him to become the man that he desired to be, and just some of his dreams and aspirations. And I will video a few of those. And Cameron has always been a giver.
Hmm.
And there was a moment when we were in the hospital, and many of my children's friends, and again, everybody just kind of rallied around us. And one of my middle son's friends gave Cameron some money, and when Cameron saw, it was like $400, and Cameron counted the money and he cried. And he was so thankful because he didn't have to do that. And Cameron moves from that same heart
Mhm.
And it just was natural to create a space to do some of the things that people had done for us. One of the things that I learned was that Cameron's best friend, which I did not like this little boy. I didn't like him. I felt like he was using my son. And I would always tell him, he's using you, he's using you. And Cameron would say, Mama, you just don't understand. But he thinks that that boy would say to my baby, it would hurt his feelings and make him cry. But what I then learned was that his brother had passed away in elementary school. And maybe he never knew how to navigate his own pain from losing his brother. So when Cameron was on his last end of days, he asked that that friend would come and visit him, and the friend never showed up. And that bothered me. It bothered me so. But then he still always operated in forgiveness.
Yeah.
And he said, I've just forgive him.
Yeah.
And when I looked at all of the things that people had done for us, I knew moving forward, because one of the things that he told me, Cameron had a way of, at the end, releasing everyone. And one day I came home from work, and it was funny because my mother is a fervent prayer warrior. Fervent prayer warrior. When I say she was like Hannah, she was on my baby just praying and lamenting. She was praying.
Yeah.
And I came home one day and he heard my voice and he said, Mama, is that you? And I said, yeah, because I think at this point he was kind of losing. His sight was in and out. And I said, yeah, baby, it's me. And he grabbed my hand and he said, oh, Mama, I'm just so thankful that you home. Oh, because Mama was just praying and praying and she was just praying too much. So that's what it's like.
That's what he said.
And he squeezed my hand and he just told me, move forward. And for me, when he said move forward, I think that he just kind of know how his mama moves and the heart that I have to give and all the other nonprofits and volunteer work and everything that we have done. Because Cameron would volunteer with us as well. When people would see him, when I remember a time when Urban Mall had the angel tree. And
Hmm.
we had a nonprofit organization called Diamonds of Distinction, and we volunteered so that we can fill the tree. Cameron walked around the mall and he grabbed people, and people filled the tree. People filled the donation box. When the man came, they couldn't even stuff another dollar in it. And when people walk around, I'm like, well, how'd you know about this? Well, this little boy named Cameron. I'm like, that's my son. Hold on. So it just made sense to that others had given to us.
It's honoring his legacy. I mean, really, it's an embodiment, it sounds like an embodiment of who he was.
Absolutely. Everything about him, care, courage, and compassion. That's exactly who he is.
All right, so I would love to know, as you walk into a calling as big as this one, and this is a very big calling, uh, there are always times of doubt when you really stop to think, am I doing the right thing? Because this is a lot of work. This is really hard. This is messy. And I know for myself, I've had those moments, and I would just really love share how God has confirmed over the years that you are doing the right thing. How has He showed up in your lives? And I'd love for each of you to answer this question.
Yeah, so starting a nonprofit is very challenging. I think the easiest part was getting the paperwork. Now it's time to do the work, right? Um, and sometimes I have to continue to remind myself that God has not given me a spirit of fear. And oftentimes that is a constant internal battle. And I question things and am I good enough, or can I add value to the world? And I know that I do because of how people consistently reach out to me for But there are a few things that happen inside of getting the nonprofit and knowing that this is a path that God truly desires for me to walk out. And one, it was the swiftness of the paperwork getting approved.
Mhm.
It was the not even having a website up, and websites are digital collateral that everyone looks at to kind of see who you are, what you're doing, just to kind of see if you're legit sometimes. And we were able to get so one of my hair clients, she is a regional manager now for one of the banks, and she came up with the hashtag Kham Strong during his cancer journey. And after everything was established, I love to be able to reciprocate things with people. And one was getting a bank account with her banking institution. And one day someone came in and they were like, "Hey, do you know a nonprofit that we could give some money to? I have $2,500 to give money away." And she
That's
said, "I surely do." And she said, she gave me a text message and she said, "What you want me to do? You want me to bring it to your deposit?" I said, "Go ahead on and deposit it." And then it
good.
was a matching grant. And again, without having a fully functioning website, because they wanted to be able to work the money through your website. And that particular button wasn't working on our website. We were able to get a $5,000 matching grant from CBS through their employee matching program.
Yeah.
And those two things alone let me know that God will open up the doors of heaven and abundantly bless us and place people in our path to do the work, because it's not about us, it's about Him. So
Mhm.
those are in the last thing, the for me, at a time when I would be reluctant to um, apply for grants because we don't have this thing in place. Because again, we're still a very young nonprofit, and kind of you can get very overwhelmed with all of the paperwork. We were able to apply for some grants and be able to receive them, but I think ultimately it was the connection with the United Way of Metropolitan Dallas. They had a incubator program, and part of the incubator program, 140 individuals applied for it, and only 12 were accepted, and Cam's house was one of the 12. So it not only showed me that I am doing, or I'm in position to do it, God desires for us to do, but it just kind of locked it in for me then. And they also gave a grant for going through their program. They give you business mentors and business advisors. So it was another layer of help and assistance.
Incredible. Jasmine, how are you going to top that? I'm
I
curious.
can't. I'm just like, you said it all. My goodness. I would just say God has truly given us the favor of connections and connectivity. And when I say not just favor on that, but the monetary gain, but for me, God has already shown me the vision. And once we write it and make it plain, all there is left to do is walk by faith and not by sight. So to me, once I see it, oh, you don't have to convince me any other thing. You don't have to convince me otherwise. And the way that God has truly shown up and favoring all the connections and the connectivity has been seamless. There's without a doubt, God, we know it's you. Who else could be so good? Not us.
Oh, that's so good. You did top her.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, absolutely right.
I'm just kidding. No, that's wonderful. And what a wonderful perspective to really understand that it's so not about us. It's not about what within our capabilities we are able to do, and stepping out in faith and understanding that it's all about what God has already designed to
Yeah.
happen. We just have to have the faith to say, yes, okay, I'll be part of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, what I thought was so wonderful and so amazing was that both of you have master's degrees. And I just, that blows my mind in and of itself. I was so ready to be done with school. Y'all were like, hey, let's do it more. And so, Kischa, you have a master's in social work, and Jazmon, you have a master's in education, teaching.
Yes, I
And
graduate in December.
I'm sorry, what?
I graduate in December.
You graduate in December. Okay, awesome. So I was, when I was looking over Kham's house and y'all's stories, I just thought, I am sure that has played a really pivotal role in how you handle the day to day of running the nonprofit. Not only that, you're handling Jazmon, you have a little baby on your hands, a wonderful little sweet baby, and then you're running Kischa, you're running the nonprofit. It sounds like you still have your hairstyling business. Is that right?
That's correct. And I also work part-time in a nonprofit.
Oh, wow. Okay. So talk to me how your backgrounds have shaped how you're managing your business now. And honestly, to see how God has shown up in that as well. Like how has he used your backgrounds to be able to carry out the work you're doing now?
Okay, so a master's program to me is very hands-on knowledge. It's things that you can take right out of the classroom and apply it to whatever field that you're actually working on in real time. The thing about teaching and learning, two specializations for me is urban education and then also STEM, which has to do with a lot of research. So, urban education, dealing with specific communities that sometimes are underserved, we are able to learn how the communities are the assets. And when you go into the community, you get protocol for how to just be able to handle people with care. So that's one way. And then for research, it teaches you how to go in and collect the data. So quantitative, qualitative. I'm like, oh, I need this for Cam's house. For when we have our demographics, because that's a key component of applying for our grants. So we need to know who we serve. We need to know who we're impacting. And that goes down to age, that goes down to whatever sickness or disease that they may be fighting or battling, the caretaker, all of those different things, what their needs are. So that helps me in the day to day. And it also helps me to be more functional. So I'm blessed to be able to be afforded with the opportunity because my master's program, I'm on a full scholarship. So I was just like, God, you worked it out for me.
Yes, you do.
Absolutely.
You worked it out for me. And I'm just like, you know better than me for what's going to help fulfill your will for my life than I do. Because I didn't want to be a teacher. So I'm happy that I am where I am.
So
And she's a magnificent teacher. And it doesn't matter what she's teaching, she's just a magnificent teacher. Um, so for me, going through the social work program, I took an assessment. Well, I'm gonna say assessment. When I was about 14 years old, I looked at a encyclopedia and it was for working. And when I read all the descriptions, I knew social work was the thing that I wanted to do. And not until I became an adult, a non-traditional student, did I decide to move forward and pursue higher education. And the social work degree helps me to identify therapeutic approaches to help people navigate and manage their emotions. It's easy for me because it's a natural gifting that God has given me, but going through a program has given me there a theoretical way to apply what God has already given and instilled and downloaded in me. So that's helpful. Also, the social work master's program provided opportunities for us to learn how to write grants in a cohort section and learn how to to do the research to evaluate what it is that we were doing, to create logic models. So it really, and at the time when I was doing it, I didn't know the why. I just knew that I wanted to continue to grow up in the educational vein, and I may even go and get my doctorate. I'm thinking about it. But counseling is easy for me to naturally be able to hear people's stories, listen to them intently, and help them to process their emotions helps, and to have a toolbox of a variety of things that I can pick from that'll help the client who's in front of me. So that's it for me.
It's amazing.
She's very interpersonal. She's a relationship
Like people.
type of people. Yes.
Which is so crucial in the work that you're doing, because this is a very difficult time for the families that you encounter, and they need someone to understand them, to see them, validate whatever they're feeling. That's so important. And how amazing that these backgrounds that you have are playing a key role. I just think that I know you're in you're completing your master's degree now, but so amazing that God opened the opportunity for you to do that without having to cover the expense of that is incredible.
Won't he do it? Won't he do it?
Won't he do it?
And at an elite school. Let's not omit that part. At SMU, an elite private school.
That's incredible.
Yes. So that's another confirmation.
Yes, it is. God likes to show out.
He does.
He does. He really does. I know you went over some of the programs that Kham's House has to offer. Were there any other, potentially events or other programs that y'all are working on now that you would like to share, or what is on the horizon for Kham's House? Let's talk about that.
Okay. So Khamron transitioned due to a disease called osteosarcoma. It is a blood disease, I'm sorry, bone disease, and sometimes it's muscular. In July is Sarcoma Awareness Month. So we have a blood drive that is coming up. It'll be posted on the website soon to honor, one, to collect blood for the Dallas Metroplex, and to just honor those who are navigating cancer, because blood fusions are necessary in that space. And then in September, we're going to have a walk run event, because not only is sarcoma or osteosarcoma its own affliction, it's also considered a childhood cancer. And so September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. So we want to honor both the sarcoma of the young adult and adolescent group, as well as the osteosarcoma for the children cancer. So those are some of the things. And then we have our end of the year gala, which will be on December the 20th.
Okay. What are some ways people can get involved with Kham's House right now? If someone's listening and they really feel like, wow, this is an organization I want to support, I want to volunteer, what are some ways they can do that? How would they connect with y'all?
So on our website, we are looking for volunteers, especially for the blood drive and the gala and the walk run event. So we can assist them in getting signed up. They can go to the website and click on that volunteer button and give us their information, and we'll reach out to them. Volunteers, if anyone has an interest in supporting in, say, knowing how to fundraise, if they're interested in joining our board, we're always open to board member applications, and anybody who wants to help in any way, we're open to that. But for now, volunteers. And another thing, if anyone has connections in the social work realm of hospitals, so say can get a connection to the social workers in hospitals, because one of the criteria for us is that we have to have a release from a social worker at a hospital so that we can release funds. And if we have a person that is in the system as a social worker and can help us to reach more AYA youth and adolescents, that's all the better.
So before we wrap for today, I would love to know, is there any final thoughts, anything that either of you would like to share? Something that maybe we didn't talk about, or something that, a word of encouragement, something that you think the people listening need to hear right now?
I encourage anyone who is in the situation, as well as caregiving for someone who may be receiving treatment. I just encourage them to be encouraged in the Lord. Know that He has the final say, His mercy endures, and that He is a sovereign God. There can be purpose birthed out of pain. And you just have to trust God in any and everything. That is what I have learned through the situation. That is what I have learned through the experience with my brother. That is what I'm still learning and that I can attest to. I didn't understand what people said. Keep on living, but just keep on going. Go forward.
So
Yeah,
good. Thank you.
that was good. That was really good. The thing that I would encourage individuals to do is to know how to ask for help. That's something that I personally struggle with. And oftentimes, when you're going through a life crisis, people may say, hey, reach out if you need help. But I think that being able to sit down with your family, being able to say, hey, this is where we are, this is what we'll be looking to, how we're going to fight together, how what may happen over the course of time, and let's put a family plan in place for what that may look like. Um, During the hospital stay, I think the doctors were trying to say that to me. I don't know that I was open to understanding what they were saying, but I think that it's very important that those things happen. So when, because fatigue happens, burnout happens, frustration happens, and what do we do to navigate that? How can we come together to pray about things? And just like Jazz say, you just begin to see God's hand move in everything that you do, and you trust Him, and you know that He is sovereign, and then to not allow people who have negativity in that sensitive space to speak ill around. So I think that those are some really key points for me.
That is some advice that is just in general that we all should take. I think y'all's perspective on all of this, the way that y'all have allowed this to work in your lives, is just really inspirational. And I'm so glad, I'm so thankful that I met you, Jazmon. It was such a divine appointment, and I will admit I was a little intimidated going into this interview. I was like, oh my goodness, y'all are something else. I'm really so thankful that you gave your time today, that you came on and shared your story and what you're doing with my listeners. I know it's going to have a wonderful impact on them. So thank you both very, very much.
Thank you for having us, Sam. I'm so grateful to have met you. You just, hey, know that you are doing the Lord's work. You understand?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
don't just say you know the faith. Take some steps, take off running, do a little trot in faith. I promise you, whatever you place in His hand, He's going to multiply it. I already see it taking off for you, girl.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. On the hard days, that is what we have to cling to on the hard days, for sure. Thank you. I appreciate that so much, Jazmon. I will hang in there, girl. Y'all are awesome. Thank y'all so much for listening today. If you would like to reach out to Kischa and Jazmon, I will include all of their details in the description below, all of their links, their social media links, and their website. If y'all have any prayer requests, any thoughts for future episodes, please feel free to reach out to me at onecalledmama@gmail.com. Thank you all so much for being here today, and I will be seeing you again very soon. Bye. Thank you all so much for joining me for this special episode today. I am just still blown away by the perspective and the outlook that Kischa and Jazmon have on this whole situation, and just, it's so inspiring and it's so uplifting. And I just pray that it was the same experience for y'all. Thank you again for joining us today, and I'll be seeing you again next week.